I am joined today by my good friend Owen Lien coming to us from Michigan. Owen, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
All right. So, first question, how did you learn bridge?
So my dad first started trying to get me interested when I was about 7. Like, I don't know, when I was that age, I didn't really fit in with those in my class at school. And he tried things like, "Oh, you can hang out with older people or smarter people or all these different things." And I was just like, "No, I'm good over here playing my video game." And then when I was about 9, he's like, "By the way, if you learn to play, you can stay up late." So yeah, I was like, I want to stay up late now. And he didn't tell me it was only on weekends, that it didn't apply to school nights. So yeah, that's what really got me started, was getting to stay up late. And that was my motivation for the first few years. And then as I was going into high school, I could stay up late anyway. So I was starting to lose interest, and I was at a bridge tournament in Columbia, South Carolina. For those that don't know, I grew up in North Carolina. That's where I'm from. And this lady said to me, "You see that other young guy over there?" Yeah. He just got back, from a junior bridge tournament in Brazil, representing the U.S. in junior bridge. And I've always loved to travel. So I went and talked to him, and I was like, "So what do I got to do to, get on this team?" And he said, "Get better." And that was what really lit the fire. That was John Hurd that I talked to at that tournament. The way I learned those first several years was really just trial and error. Didn't like reading bridge books. Yeah, I just would bid a lot and see what worked and what didn't. So yeah, I had a reputation for going for lots of telephone numbers, but I learned.
So, what did your dad's version of teaching you to learn bridge at 9 years old look like?
It was mostly just taking me to the club, playing with him, or just playing with whatever poor victim I had that evening. Like one of the first times I went, I was playing with a guy named Ray Coleman, who's sadly no longer with us. And the opponent opened like a heart, and I overcalled 2-no trump. And Ray shouted, "Hey, Gordon, does Owen know the unusual no trump?" And my dad's like, "No, I don't think so." And I had a 2-no opener. Everyone was really patient with me at the club, at least in terms of the bridge. The behavior you'd expect from a 9-year-old, they weren't so patient with, but I learned. But yeah, it was just kind of like trying things out and learning through mistakes.
Was staying up late because the club had an evening game?
They did. They did. They had a 7 p.m. game. So when I was visiting my dad, we'd go play in the night games, which was, I believe it was a Wednesday night that we'd go play. Or anytime we were at tournaments, because back then tournament game times were 1 and 7. I was a maniac. Go to Gatlinburg, play 5 sessions a day. Nowadays, I think about playing more than 2 when I get sick.
I remember those days as well.
Mm.
So, you jumped right into duplicate, it sounds like.
Yes, we never really did kitchen bridge. I do know that like during the school year, I'd be visiting my dad on the weekend, and there, at the time in Augusta, Georgia, there was no club game on the weekend. So my dad got a sanction for a club game, which he ran in his house on Saturdays, just so I'd be able to play bridge while I was visiting him. That was really cool. And he could fit about 4 tables of people in his house. And after a couple months, it's like, no, we don't have enough room. We got to move this over to the bridge club now. So that was cool.
Does
Yeah,
he still play?
he does. He was actually at the Nationals in St. Louis just
I think I've
last
seen
week.
him a few times. He looks just like you, just
A
a
lot
little
of people
older.
say that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So John Hurd tells you this junior program is cool, you have to get better.
Yeah.
What did you do to get better, and how did you get involved in the junior program?
At the time, like OK Bridge was the site to play on. And the first thing I did was I got my mom to pay the annual subscription fee, which for a junior, they gave half off. It was like $50 for the year, and then I just went on there and I played as much as I could, like nonstop. Get home from school at like 3:30, and I was on there until I couldn't keep my eyes open anymore. And then, like, I started meeting other juniors, back at the time, the World Bridge Federation hosted junior bridge camps, and in 2004, they had one in Nyack, New York, right after the nationals concluded in New York City. So I went there, met a lot of other people my age. That's where I met Kevin Dwyer, and Andy Garnett at the time kind of told Kevin and told me that we should play together because he thought we'd be a good fit. And so Kevin and I agreed to play the junior trials the following year, which were held in Atlanta for the U.S. junior team, under 21 junior team to be clear. And yeah, we just practiced online, and he came up and we played in Gatlinburg that year, I remember, and we ended up qualifying for that team. And he and I had a really good partnership for 6 or 7 years, and yeah, it's great.
You guys had a lot of success in the juniors, as I
We
recall.
did. And, really what really drew me in was getting to meet all these other people that were my age. Like, I'm friends with a lot of these people still today. And, this was 22 years ago that I started meeting these people. Like, at that New York junior bridge camp or nationals, whatever, they had a junior individual game. I remember I met Christina Madsen in that game, and like all these other people that have become my friends.
Especially for the kind of kids who take up bridge, who, maybe don't fit in with the friend group at school as much, right?
Yes, when I was first playing bridge, like before I made the junior team, other kids at my school were like making fun of me. Oh, you spend your weekends with old people, ha ha ha. And then I got back from the summer between my junior and senior years, and everyone's talking about what they did over the summer, and I'm like, yeah, I went to Europe and then Thailand to play bridge. And everyone now all of a sudden was like, "Oh, teach me." And I don't know. I was kind of enjoying the moment. So I was like, no.
Yeah.
If I could
Forget
go
you
back,
guys.
I would have reacted differently to that.
So when you were playing on OK Bridge, were you just playing with randos?
Yeah, mostly randos because I didn't know anybody. I grew up in rural North Carolina, and like I played bridge like in local tournaments, but the options were like the MSN Gaming Zone or OK Bridge, and the Gaming Zone was like where social players were. OK Bridge is where the more serious players went.
So do you remember when BBO became a thing?
Well, I know for me, it became a thing after I made the junior team because, like, other people on the junior team, like, they weren't going to pay to get online when there was a free alternative. That's when I stopped, like, really playing with randos. Like, I would get on BBO with the purpose of practicing with my partner or teammates. I mean, I still played lots with randos at the time, but it was less common.
What do you think that ability to train online has done for this generation of bridge players compared to the generation or two before?
It certainly made it a lot more accessible. When Debbie and Michael Rosenberg started volunteering to really promote Junior Bridge and improve it, which was back around 2012, 2013, right in that area, right in that time frame. Like now the training became structured. Like we had a fixed time every week that we were to get online and practice, and then we would get on Zoom afterwards to, do a post-mortem of the hands and really hash it out. And, now it didn't matter where you were geographically. Like we could all be together. And yeah, like Zach and Adam Grossick were in that group, Kevin Dwyer, like a lot of today's stars, of course, Kevin Rosenberg, like, and then you had the programs like being run in Atlanta by Patty Tucker or Silicon Valley Youth Bridge being organized out there. Like just ways to bring like-minded young people together to learn bridge. And really the internet age made that a lot more possible. But yeah, we've got a lot of really good players in my generation or the ones that have come after me. But I mean, the ones that were right before me, Justin Law, rest in peace, Joe Grew, John Kraniak, Vince Demui, Gavin Wolpert, these names that are really household names in the bridge world. So, but I
Yeah.
imagine the hurdle for them was a lot higher because wasn't just like, oh yeah, let's get on the internet and do a video call.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think of how much easier it is to get to 10,000 hours now with, being able to play
Yes.
online. I know the 10,000 hours is what it is, but that idea of just you can't get good without having a lot of hands under your belt. And it used to be you could go to the club and in 3
Mm.
hours you get 24 boards, and now in 3 hours you can get 100.
Yes. Yeah, especially if you're just, like, really trying to get volume instead of quality. Like, you can
Yes.
play a hand in 2 or 3 minutes online.
Yeah. And your regular partner, Ulf, is not local, right? He's Swedish? Does he live in Sweden?
Yes, he does. He lives in the very south of Sweden, basically across the Øresund Strait from Copenhagen.
But a partnership like that would have been almost unthinkable before the internet age.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't practice. So tell me what your practice with him looks like.
Usually we just do Cubids, the app that's for bidding. And then maybe starting a couple weeks before a tournament, we'll get on BBO some and place a few hands. But most of our practice is focused on the bidding. And Cubids is great because it's non simultaneous.
Yeah, especially with a time zone difference.
Yeah. Right. And I mean, we don't really have to practice that much. I mean, we do, but like Ulf is really proud of this that our system notes are only 8 pages long, which a lot of people can't believe that that's true, but I assure you they are. So it's a lot less memory intensive to remember what's going on at the table.
Okay. What do 8-page system notes look like? There must be a lot of like standard stuff that's left out, right? Like, do you have
Yeah.
stamen in your notes?
Yes, we do have statement, but yeah, there's a lot of shorthand and a lot of like, yeah, this auction here is like this auction here instead of writing it all out again. But yeah, basically a lot of shorthand, but mostly he writes out principles in the introductory section of the notes, and then he just references that later on. Like part of what keeps it simple is we play, it's going to sound weird, but we play a relay system which is based on symmetric relay. And, there you don't really have to think about what some of your auctions mean because your partner's just making bids and you have to make predefined bids to say, this is my distribution.
The relay part actually simplifies it in some ways because it's just the same thing being used over and over in different parts of the
Yeah,
system. Yeah.
exactly. And it's not very nuanced. It's just if you have this shape, this is how you bid your hand, and it's not optional. In a way that reduces the amount of thought that you have to put into the bidding of a hand when you have your game forcing options. Once you've memorized the pattern, and that's the beauty of symmetric relay is it's just patterns, then if you're the one responding to partners' relays, then you don't really have to think about, oh, what's the best way to bid my hand? Because there's only one way to bid your hand.
So with other partners who you play with less frequently, you play a more natural system, I
Right.
assume.
Yeah. And actually, Ulf and I just switched from playing a strong club to playing a natural system, but we still play relays.
What are your preferences? What do you think the advantages and disadvantages of the different systems are?
I mean, my preference for a long time was a strong club. With Ulf and me switching to a natural based system for the first time in 20 years, I don't have a regular strong club partner. And I loved the strong club. Like limited openings mean you can just jump the game a lot of the time. And, it's sort of like when your partner opens a week two, you have a good idea of what the limit of the hand is because your partner has a narrow range. Well, if you're playing precision, your partner opens something that isn't a strong club. Well, it's got about that same 5 point range as a week two bid. So you can look at your own hand and be like, oh, yeah, okay, this is a part score hand, this is a game hand, maybe slam, like right away. But a lot of people think the strongest point of strong club is the strong club, but that's actually the weakest point because it's prone to interference. Actually, like if you want to try strong club, I would focus on your competitive agreements when they interfere over your strong club before I'd focus on the auctions where they don't compete. But it's why I now prefer a natural system because I like starting to bid the suits that I have and show my hand before they jack it up and mess us up.
So whose idea was it to switch systems?
Mine.
Mister, I love precision.
Yes. Well, there were a number of hands. So starting about a year ago, Ulf started simplifying our strong club system because, in his judgment, we didn't need as much complexity. And then come San Francisco Nationals this past fall, I felt like the pendulum had gone far enough or too far towards simplicity. There were a number of hands that, in my opinion, should have been easily handled by a strong club, but our agreements were such that there was one hand that I was just like, this is crazy. We had it, our combined hands, you should be able to get to six clubs playing a natural system in 2 seconds. My hand was ace, queen, 10, fourth, ace, king, fourth, singleton, and ace, king, fourth. And if you play a natural system, you'd open a club. Your partner would bid three clubs, which most play is like 6 to 9 points or so with club support. And well, this hand's tremendous. So you'd probably just bid key card and he'd be in six clubs in no time. And partner had the king of spades and queen jack fifth of clubs and four little diamonds. And well, I opened a strong club. He bid a negative diamond, and I had no rebid with this hand. If I'd bid a major, he had that defined as showing five. I bid two of a major that was non-forcing with exactly four in the major, but it promised a longer minor. So I had to treat the hand as balanced. So we bid strong club, negative diamond. I rebid two no, and he bid three no. Like, we came nowhere close. We weren't even in the best game, let alone a slam that was basically lay down. So
Yeah, you lost in the round of 64 to a really weak team. No, that was in the summer, wasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that stung. Still stings. For those that don't know, Adam and his teammates pushed us to the sidelines just on the second day of of the Svingold
It's
last
painful.
year. And in the Vanderbilt last spring, the same team that I was on and at the Summer Nationals, we made the semifinal of the Vanderbilt. So it's not like we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah, that was a good win for Mike's Department. We were proud to beat you guys. It was a fun match.
Mm.
So, 8 pages of system notes now as you switch systems. How many of those pages are about competitive bidding auction?
I'd actually say it's just only about a quarter of them
It's like
because
my multi-defense notes are 2 or 3 pages.
our competitive notes really use meta rules, like just general guidelines, so that when a competitive auction comes up, we don't have to strain to remember, oh, what do we do in this specific situation? Like, we can just think back to our competitive bidding principles and figure out what's going on. Like, what should I do or what is partner trying to do? And that's going to see us through 99.9% of the time.
Do you think that expert partnerships go too deep into the weeds on a lot of these things and we would be better served just with general rules?
I think that there is a good balance between the two. Like, you can have competitive bidding agreements that are auction specific, but I feel like if you just have these general rules, like, you can really relax a lot about making auction specific agreements.
Do you bring that philosophy over when you play with other experts? Like, are there certain meta rules that you're like, this is what we should do?
Really, the most important thing is just knowing what your doubles mean in competition. Like, and also if you play something other than 4-0 as key card, knowing what your rules are on that. Like, the thing about all these different doubles or key card bids is you can have all the agreements you want about them, but you get it wrong once, it's going to take you a long time to get back to even from any supposedly superior agreements. Like, my system notes with all the first thing in there is a definition of the Pareto principle, which basically says 20% of your notes or agreements should be responsible for 80% of your results. You don't need complexity, you just need sound foundations. So, like, one thing you see a lot of experts play is, like, say they open a no trump and I make a penalty double of that. Well, say they run now. Do you and your partners know what the next double is. I mean, every expert partnership I've seen plays that the next double is takeout. It isn't important whether you play it's takeout or penalty. It's just that you and your partner know what it is.
Yeah, Greg and I play that as takeout. We learned that one the hard way. Yeah, I mean, that's how it
Yeah.
goes. Like one of you doubles thinking it's penalty and one thinks it's takeout, and you have a disaster. And you say, okay,
Hmm.
new rule. And you learn from
Yes.
that. And
And it's much more efficient to have that rule be a generalized rule than just specific to that auction. Like a general rule Ulf and I have about penalty doubles is if we're in a game forcing auction, then double is penalty. But if we're not, then it's takeout.
so you had your first really big Nationals win last year with Harrison Luba
Yes.
in the big pair event. Had you played
Yes.
with him previously?
He and I had played together once before in the same event, uh, 2 years before. So in 2023, we were fourth going into the final session that year, but that time didn't go our way. But this time it did. It's so much fun playing with Harrison.
What makes it fun playing with Harrison?
Well, he's a creative bidder. It's not boring. Like I have to sit there and think like, okay, like Harrison's more aggressive in these positions. And I knew that because he told me. Like knowing these things was much more helpful than any amount of system discussion we could have. He told me, oh yeah, first seat favorable. I might open really light if I have a distributional hand. He's always thinking outside the box, how to generate action, do the condition, promote like being like more aggressive or what in these different situations. I had to think differently than I do when I play with most of my partners, but it still made sense because of like he told me about his style and his principles.
So, how much of the discussion was style versus system?
I'd say it was probably 50-50. Okay, how light are we opening? How aggressively do you preempt? How much does vulnerability impact your decisions? And then, like, our system discussion wasn't even that extensive. We did not play much system.
Are there any systemic things that you insist on with a new partner or strongly vote for?
Well, any no Trump defense that includes two clubs showing both majors. I love that one because if that's the hand type you want to get in there most aggressively with, it leaves your partner a two diamond advance to say, hey, partner, I don't have a clear preference between the majors. So now you can always get to your better Trump fit. Other than that, no, not really. I've played a lot of different stuff, so I'm kind of comfortable with everything.
Are there anything you just won't play, like a veto?
No, I don't think there's anything I would veto. I mean, I'm not a fan of mini Roman, but if my partner is like, no, no, I really want to play it, I'll be like, fine. Like, if it's going to be a long-term partnership, then yeah, I'm going to veto that. But if it's just like we're playing a couple of sessions or one session, like, whatever, we can play whatever you want and just have a good time. Like, bridge is supposed to be fun, right? And if part of my partner having fun is playing mini Roman, we can play mini Roman. Like part of what makes bridge fun for me is that my partner is playing well and having a good time. So if part of that is playing something maybe I'm not a huge fan of, I'll go along with.
How much of bridge success do you think comes from system?
If you want to be competitive at the top, then like yeah, you need to know your system. But what system you choose to play, I don't think is terribly important.
What do you think really differentiates people at different levels? And we'll start with like experts versus, pretty good. Someone who routinely is making the third day of, the platinum pairs versus someone who they might make the third day every now and then, but not every time.
Ooh,
We could say
I
between you and me, right?
yeah. No,
Right. Those are good descriptors of the two of us, I would say.
a lot of I think aspiring players think that they have to do something different or special to be successful at the top, and really it bridges a game of mistakes. The fewer of them you make, the better you're going to do. If you want to have consistent success, you have to figure out how to minimize those mistakes because there's a reason that the people at the top are consistently there, and you're not going to outsmart them on a regular basis. Like, so just being consistent in how you play, first of all, helps your partner a lot. Like, if you're all over the map, your partner has no idea where to even begin thinking about the hand, like in the bidding or in the defense, and it makes it very hard. But yeah, just minimizing your mistakes, and what's a mistake in one partnership might not be one in another. What matters is that you and your partner are on the same page. Was I in range for what you were expecting for my bidding here? If the answer is no, then that was a mistake and you should find out what partner was expecting. Like, that's what I would say is the biggest difference, is just minimizing your mistakes and getting that sound foundation.
What's the best way to work on that? If you identify that, okay, that's what I need to work on. What do I do?
Right. Yeah, like anytime you and your partner have a bad result, like don't try to discuss it right away, and certainly don't try to assess blame right away either. Trying to blame it on your partner or yourself right away is counterproductive. One of my coaches as a junior, Kevin Wilson, he always said like he didn't want to discuss hands right after the session. He wanted to reflect on our poor results and think about it as alone as, well, what could I have done differently to help my partner avoid this result? And it's much more introspective. You actually start to recognize your own mistakes by doing that, rather than immediately being like, well, my double is obviously takeout. Well, if your double was obviously takeout, then your partner wouldn't have passed it, right? Like, if it was so obvious. So really, like, the conversation might start, well, why didn't you think my double was takeout? What, like, where did we have a disconnect in our general rules? Like, or like, say you didn't take all the tricks you might have taken on defense. Could I have played a different card to help my partner? Or could my sequence of defensive plays been different to help my partner? And then talk it through with your partner. Also, like, by not trying to like blame partner right away or assess blame, but actually waiting to think about it, you then eventually stop thinking about results that have already happened during the game, which is a huge distraction and uses up a lot of energy. Try to focus on the hand that's in front of you. That's why we have hand records. So you don't have to try to remember the hand right away. Just, like, wait until afterwards and think about it and then discuss it with your partner. I don't want to waste any energy focusing on something that I cannot change the result of. Like, it has already happened. If a bad result happens, I might say to my partner, okay, if this situation comes up again, that double is takeout until we discuss it further. Like, or if my partner wants to say, no, no, let's do its penalty, I'll be like, fine. Like, I'm not going to waste energy figuring out the merits of one or the other. I just don't want it to happen again. Discussing the merits of it can come up at a later conversation.
What motivates you more, loving to win or hating to lose?
Yeah, I think loving to win, because you're going to lose enough that, like, in this game, that if you hate losing, it just makes it much harder to continue enjoying the game. But the loving the winning, like, that that never gets old.
What
But
was the celebration like after you and Harrison won?
like, I was on cloud 9, like, so happy. We went to the bar in the hotel lobby, and, like, people were lining up to buy our drinks. It was mildly unfortunate that, the next day was the start of the Spingold, so we couldn't go too crazy. But, yeah, we definitely had our fun, and the captain of my Spingold team, Sam Dinkin, even sent me a message like, I'm granting you dispensation from playing the entire morning tomorrow if you want it. I wasn't going to put that on my teammates. I was like, no, I'll still be there at 10 o'clock. But, I thought it was great that he offered that. Like, so nice.
Yeah, that's a good captain.
Yes.
That's
So,
understanding, but also good on you for saying no. No, I remember seeing you guys that night and, just wanted to give you a big hug. I was really proud because you had that monkey on your back.
I
Because you
did.
got a lot of master points.
I do. Yes. Yes. And I'd come close a few times. I had a personal goal that I wanted my first win to come in one of the major events, one of the 3-day or longer events. So in that sense, I achieved it. It just took a long time.
You are now among the ranks of Grand Life Masters.
Yes.
How much time do you spend on bridge these days?
I mean, I play for fun at my local club like twice a week when I'm home. But other than that, like, outside of working, I I don't play much bridge. I like walking my dog or going to the gym or just like spending time outdoors. I love being outdoors. And like I direct on BBO 5 days a week. Uh but again, that's working. So like yeah, I don't spend a ton of time.
So how do you keep yourself sharp?
Well, I mean, I go to a lot of bridge tournaments. like I'm at 1 or 2 regionals on average per month. If you're playing that much bridge, you're just gonna stay sharp. But for those that don't get to play that much bridge, I would say, find some friends that you think are tough competition and either meet up in person, or if that's not as convenient, you can just hop on Bridge Base and set up your own table. And Bridge Base has this really cool feature where you can select a deal source from the view graph files. And if you do that, like you can then see how your results compare with the experts. One of the best ways to improve is to either play with or against people that are better than you. When I was 17, I asked Joe Grew, like, what's the best way to improve? He's like, well, anytime you're at a tournament, enter the toughest event you can find, the top bracket of whatever. And yeah, you're going to get your butt kicked for a while and it's gonna suck, but you're gonna learn. And really that's the way to do it if you have the desire um, to really improve.
Is Owen Lien of 2026 different or better as a bridge player than, say, 10 years ago?
I would say I've become more focused on like what can I do to help my partner or teammates play better. 10 years ago, I was one of the worst offenders at like saying, "What were you thinking?" Or like, "Oh my God, you got like our teammates are playing terribly," or whatever. I was really not a good teammate when things weren't going well. And now it's just like, if things aren't going well, like, do you want to try sitting out at a different time of the day than this? Or like, after I finish sitting out, can I bring anything to you? I want my teammates to and partners to play the best that they can. And if there's anything I can do to help that, I'm all in.
You've started doing some physical conditioning, as I recall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me about that transformation for you.
Well, everyone knows friendships can be about tough love sometimes. And in San Francisco, more than one of my friends said to me, "Owen, you're getting a little round in the face." So, like, I don't know, a couple weeks after that, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go sign up at the gym. But some advice that some other friends had given me, which was, "Owen, when you go back to the gym, actually get a trainer this time, because then you're going to be accountable to the money you spend on that instead of just the gym membership. And you'll also learn what exercises you should be doing." And so I signed up middle end of December, seeing a trainer twice a week. I go to the gym every other day. And then, like, I don't know, a couple weeks after I started doing that, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stop drinking too, because working out after you've been drinking the night before really sucks.
How do you feel?
Oh, I feel so much better. Like I'm sleeping better. I feel like I have more energy. I didn't get tired. I wasn't tired at the end of St. Louis. I don't know. I could have played for another week. I feel like.
This was the first big tournament since you've started this regimen.
Yeah, it is. And
Did
I
you
I
feel
I
it affecting your bridge other than just not being tired?
like staying focused was not really a challenge, and having the energy to keep that intense focus that you really need if you're going to succeed at the top. Like I just had it. And like even when I go to bridge tournaments, I still maintain my working out every other day. What was normal for me is get back from the nationals and then I'd basically spend the next day and a half sleeping because I was exhausted. But no, not this time. Like, just not tired. I was disciplined. And like working out at a bridge tournament when you start at 10 a.m. and you're going to dinner after you finish means you got to get up early. So like I was getting up at 6:30 every day during the nationals. Even though
Mm.
I didn't go to the gym every day, it was just like getting up that making that the routine makes it easier to get up that early on the days you actually are going to work out.
What's your workout routine look like?
My trainer set me up with a whole thing. Like there's a push day, a pull day, and legs, but it's mostly weights and a few machines and some cardio, but mostly it's weights. And I go for about 45 minutes or an hour each time.
So what does the daily routine for you at a big tournament like the Nationals look like?
Yeah, wake up at 6:30. If it's a gym day, I'm in the gym by 7 o'clock. Back around 8, shower, breakfast, get ready, and then I'm at the venue usually by 9:30. Play bridge in the morning, have a low-key lunch, like, I don't want lunch to be a thing. I'm trying to save my energy for bridge, and that's what I'm there for. Almost every day in St. Louis, my lunch was Subway, uh, and we would pick it up on the way to the venue, and then Alf and I would just find somewhere low key to chill and eat for a couple hours and relax. Go back, play the evening, go to dinner, usually with my teammates. Back from dinner around 9, 8:39, and asleep by 10:30.
Do you think more bridge players could benefit from leading a healthier lifestyle and exercising more and not drinking and all of that that you're doing?
I mean, I don't think you need my opinion on that. Like, the science is there. Like, exercising is great, and it doesn't even have to be anything. And like, you could just go to the treadmill and like do what I do when I walk my dog. Like, I listen to podcasts or music. Like,
I know a good podcast you can listen.
yeah, I bet.
I mean, yours is not the first story like this I have heard. Gavin recently went through a big transformation of lifestyle, and I know Adam Kaplan has lost a lot of weight. It surprises me that it's not standard. Like, if this helps stamina, helps concentration, why isn't everyone who's competitive at bridge like training?
Because, go back and think about what my routine looks like. It's not a very social one, right?
I mean, we're there to compete, we're
Yes,
there to win championships, not to socialize. An Olympic athlete isn't gonna be like, "Well, it's not very social for me to train this hard."
right. Well, I mean, bridge players are social beings, and after being so intense at the table all day, like, it's fun, like, to hang out with your friends, have a couple drinks, but there's a time and a place for that. And in the
It's
middle
more
of a
fun to win.
national, it is a lot of fun to win. A lot of fun. Like, winning the Life Masters pairs with Harrison was one of the highest highs I've ever felt. Like, when that final result posted, my god, I felt like I leapt 100 feet in the air. I want that feeling more often.
Yeah, and it's worth going to the gym and paying a trainer and not drinking if makes it even slightly more likely that it happens more often, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's a great place for us to end. Thank you, Owen. Always great talking
Thank
with you.
you, Ed.
Congratulations again on the win last year.
Thank you, thank you.
So happy for you and always look forward to talking with you.
Likewise.